Hey guys, Austin Michael here with Three Wing Studios, and in this tutorial we're going to be learning how to make a simple loader such as this. There are a whole lot of other types of loaders that you can make, and this is using just basic HTML and CSS, so it's really easy to pick up. So without any further ado, let's just get right into it. So we're going to come right over here. I already made a spinner HTML file and a CSS file. So we're just going to start by declaring this to be an HTML doc type. That's just so that the browser knows what type of file it is. So basically we're going to use two other lines of HTML. One of them is going to be a div, and we're going to name the class spin loader. Spin loader. We're just going to close that. And the other line is going to be including the style sheet. So we're going to make a link rel equals style sheet, href equals style.css. There we go. That's all. And pretty much we're done with the HTML now. So now we can jump over to the CSS and we can start making our styling. So right now, if we look at this, right, if we open up the file, there's nothing there. Okay, so we need to add style to it. Basically, we're going to start with the spin loader class, and we're going to make the width, let's say 50 pixels. We're also going to make the height 50 pixels because we want it to be a perfect circle. Once we add the border radius, it will be a perfect circle. Right now it'll just be a square. And we're going to make the background color gray. Good. And I accidentally made that an underscore, should be a hyphen. So if we jump over here now, we'll see we have a gray box. We need it to be a circle, so what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to remove the background color because we want to do this with the border. So we're going to use a border. 7 pixels is the width. It's going to be solid. And the HTML color code is E0, E0, E0. And I'll make a light gray color. And there we go. So the problem here is that it's rectangular. So we need to make it so that it's square. So what we're going to do is we're going to do border radius. And we're going to do 50%. Because 50% will make it a full circle. So now if we look, there we go. We got a full circle. You could also break this border up into several statements. So you could do border width 7 pixels, and then border style solid, and then border color and the color. But that's not necessary. You can just do it all in one place right here. So next we need part of it to be blue. And we're going to use that just by going border top. And we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to do 7 pixels solid, but this time the HTML color code will be 4790FF. And that'll give us a blue color. So now if we look, we see that. There we go. We got the blue and we got the rest. So when we make it spin, it'll appear to spin. Okay, so now let's jump back over, and we also want this to be positioned in the center of the screen. So we can fix this by going position fixed. And then we need to make sure that the center is positioned in the middle, both vertically and horizontally. So what we're going to do, basically what position fixed does is it makes it so that the element is positioned relative to the screen. Okay, so if we reload it right now, nothing's going to happen. It's going to stay in the same place. But now we can position it. We can say top. And we're going to use a function called calc to calculate the number of pixels down it should be. And we're going to use 50 VH, which stands for viewport height, minus half of the height, right? Because we want it to be in the center here. So we're going to take half the height, which was 25 pixels. And there we go. Now, if we look back, it's positioned in the center. And we're going to do the same thing for left. We're going to do calc 50 VW minus 25 pixels. And in this case, VW stands for viewport width. And now it will be positioned right in the center. Perfect. So now, something we can do to optimize this a little bit is, you see, we're declaring, it's a circle, and we're declaring the width and the height. So we're using the same value twice, and we're using half of that value here. So to make it a little easier, we can declare a local variable. Diameter is 50 pixels. Okay, so now wherever we use this, it'll plug in 50 pixels for that. And you want to use the 2 dashes because it lets the CSS know that it is a variable that we're declaring. So we're going to, now we type var and the name of the variable. And there we go. Now that'll be plugged in. There we go. So now when we go back, it should look exactly the same, except if we wanted to change the width, we could change it right here, and it would change it for both the width and height. Just a cool little trick. And also it makes it easier down here. We can do minus, here we did half of the diameter, so 25 pixels is half of 50. So we want half of diameter, so diameter, and then we're going to divide that by 2. And we can copy this, paste it there, and now if we look, there we go. Now all we need to do when we want to change this, say we want it 100 pixels, there we go, and it changed just like that, instead of having to change it here, 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 and here. This is a much easier way to do it, and it's much cleaner. So we can also make it so that we don't have to declare the border twice here. Not really necessary, but it will help as well. Just keep things cleaner and easier to change in the future if we wanted to change them. So let's just say the border width is 7 pixels. I'm going to do var border width. We'll just copy this, paste it right down here. And now we can look, it's exactly the same. I'm going to change this back to 50 pixels. And if we change this to 20 pixels as the border width, we see it's fat now. So there we go. I'm going to keep it at 7 because 7 looks pretty good. There we go. Easy enough. So now what we're going to do is we're going to animate it so that it spins, because right now it's just kind of sitting here, not really doing anything. So what we're going to do is, in order for it to spin indefinitely, we have to create a new animation. So we do this using keyframes, and we'll name the animation spin. Basically, this will allow us to program the CSS to rotate this, the spin loader, indefinitely. So we'll do 0%, so at the beginning, transform rotate 0. There we go. So now at the beginning, it will be 0 degrees rotated. And at 100% of the animation, so at the end, I'm going to do transform rotate 360 degrees. And you want to remember your unit there, because if you just have 360, it will not work. So we have our animation now, but if we go back, nothing is happening. And that's because we have to actually apply the animation to the spin loader. So we could do, there are a couple things we're going to have to fill out. We have to do animation name. We'll also have to do animation duration. But that's really not necessary. We can just use animation like this, and then we can type spin, 2 seconds for the length. we'll say it's infinite so that it just keeps going and does not stop. And we want it to be linear because, well, I'll show you the result if we didn't use linear. Okay, so now we can see how it looks. And there we go, we got a loader. Now we also want to make sure this works with other browsers. So we're going to do WebKit animation. Spin 2 seconds, infinite, linear. And the reason why we do this is because some browsers implement certain things differently or don't even implement them at all. So WebKit is used for Chrome and Safari, and we're also going to use Mozilla Firefox. So mouse animation, spin 2 seconds, infinite, linear. And I'm indenting it here just because it looks a little nicer. There we go. So now it should work with all browsers. And let's see. There we go. Now we have a perfect spinner. And of course you can adjust the speed. So if I make it 1 second. And we could use variables here too. You can if you want. If you want to do that, go ahead. I'll leave that to you guys. So now it'll go faster. I like 2 seconds. So we're going to do that. So if we didn't use linear, I'll show you what'll happen. It'll kind of do that. That doesn't look bad, but it's not exactly the effect I was going for. This will be used for another spinner that I'll show you guys to make another loader actually. But for this one, I'm going to keep it with linear. If you guys like it more like this, then you can keep it like that. But I'm going to keep mine like this. So that's basically all for this tutorial. Really easy stuff. Nothing too complex. You learn a little bit about animations. Basically, the keyframe and the animation name will allow you to use whatever CSS you want in here, and it'll animate it. We also learned about the calc function, which calculates the number of pixels based on whatever you enter. So here it's the 50% of the viewport height minus the diameter divided by 2. And we also learned a little bit about variables, which was cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you want more, I'm going to be doing more loading tutorials because I think they're pretty fun, and having a nice loader can make it fun to wait. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and peace out. Take care, guys.